it's now time for us to get into conversation on motivation, on personalization, and on brand power. Brands today are successful when personalization comes into picture. There's more and more customer recall. Talking to us a lot more about this is Rasika Duggal, who's known for her performances in films, in original series, and in short films. She has trained in acting at the prestigious Film and Television Institute of India and is known for her work in films like Manto, Hamid, Kissa, and more. Let's listen in.
Hi, Rasika. Welcome to Femina Power Brands today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. In today's conversation, we talk about motivation, personalization, and brand power. As we all know that brands are a success with personalization brought to ensure customer recall, any brand establishes its success through this route. And so we talk about differentiation, and that's where we have you with us, Rasika. We talk about the impact that you have made in your career and where you're standing here today. To understand it further, we would like to explore the brief background from your early life. How different were you from other kids at age?
I mean, difficult to say because I believe that every child is unique and every person is unique and there's something to celebrate about everybody. And when you're growing up, it's very hard to say how you're different. You're just doing things as you feel like doing. But I think I always had a strong sense of mischief, which was sort of encouraged by people around me because they were often funny situations, so adults around me would sort of comment funnily on things I had said or done because they were a little bizarre. So I guess I always had a healthy appetite for the bizarre, which holds me in good stead in this profession. I remember I was also pretty fearless. Sometimes I think of that part of my life and I feel like, I wish I could still be as fearless as I was when I was a child. So I grew up in Jamshedpur, and nobody in my family has anything to do with the arts. Has never had, or I don't think has had ever since either. My father runs a business. My mother, for a long time, ran a small boutique for women's wear. My sister is an academic, an economist, started off as an economist and is now working with environmental law as well. So nobody from my immediate family was in the arts. So I had no reference for what a life of an artist should be. But I think unknowingly and unconsciously, I think my parents sort of provided an environment which allowed me to feel very secure, and I think that's a very big thing in life. It kind of, if you know that if you feel that no matter what, I have a place to go back to, it sort of helps you experiment more, possibly. I mean, that's how I understand my life. This is not to say that people have different reactions to things, and some people might have an opposite reaction to this because they might feel like I have to make this work because I have nothing else to go back to, and that is kind of what I felt like when I went to college, because I was from a small town and engaging with a big city for the first time. And at that time, I remember in college, I felt like I had to really push myself for every small thing because I felt that I had to really justify why I'm here. So even if there was a small dramatic society rehearsal or a play to watch, I would just maximize my time as a student of mathematics in Lady Shriram College in Delhi University. I remember at that time I was so mesmerized by the world that I was introduced to when I went to LSR. Because while in Jamshedpur, I was exposed to being on stage, and I was always one of those kids in school who was found on stage more than in class, But but in LSR, I think I understood what being an artist means.
Anything, any instance that you recall during your college days that has shaped you as a person now? Any memories which you would like to share with us, which had a positive impact on you?
LSR was a whole new world for me. When I moved from Jamshedpur to Lady Shri Ram College, like I already mentioned, I hadn't uh, uh, realized that people have spent so much of their lives already learning a skill so intensely, and that was just, I was like, where was I all these years? So I was like, I suddenly have to make up for all this lost time and learn all of this while I'm at LSR. So that was a complete, just the kind of talent I was surrounded by. I was just opened up a whole new world for me. I just realized there's so much more to do than what I had done growing up. Also, I think this is the first time that I became conscious of my feminism. And I had a vocabulary to articulate it because my environment sort of facilitated me to have a vocabulary. LSR is a very feminist college. And then I worked on a project on gender and public space, which was more an ethnographic study. So I did all those things. And then I saw that FTI was restarting their acting course. And then I realized that my first love is not academic. My first love is to do something. And just on that whim and on that flimsy thought, I applied to the Film Institute in Pune, and I got through and I joined. And I think after I started learning how to act, a few months into that, I realized that this is something that I will never get bored of. This will be something that is endless. There will never be a time where I can say, hey, I know how to act. There will always be more to explore. There will always be more to learn. And in the journey of being an actor, or in the job of acting, there are so many lives you live, and there are so many experiences that you would not have encountered in the normal course of life,
So we've reached Pune as of now, right? So we started from Jamshedpur, we reached Delhi, and you built a great story along the lines, and now we reached Pune. So at Pune and thereafter, what kind of there would have been some best and also worst moments in life which you would have dealt with professionally and shaped you and brought. Can you give us one or two instances of each, so we understand where you evolved from? We understand Jamshedpur, we understand one, so now we are at Pune, from Pune where, and something which has helped you.
So I think should I go for the best first or the worst first?
Yes, please.
The best first.
Yeah.
So I think the one moment professionally that I can describe as pure joy, and I remember that distinctly as being so even while I was in it. Usually retrospectively you understand the goodness of something or the joy in something, but usually while you're in it, it's sort of the joy of it or the good of it kind of surpasses you because you're so busy doing what you have to do. But this was the one moment in my life where I felt complete joy. It was the time I was cast for a film called Kissa, which is a film I did with Irfan, Tilotama Tiska. It was directed by Anup Singh, who is just the loveliest director anybody can have. So before Kissa, I had done about 14, 15 films in small parts. I had been in Bombay for about 5, 6 years already. I had done 14 films in small parts. I was doing theater. I was not being able to get better parts. They were improving, but marginally. I had done one independent film in a lead part, which was very character driven, which had got its appreciation, but I was not being able to go to the next step. And there was a lot of time in between where I had no work. And I remember somebody else was cast on this project, and something didn't work out. And I had gone to meet the director in December. Somebody had told me the director's DA was a junior of mine from the Film Institute, and he told me, he's making this film, so if you want to come and meet him. And I met him in December, and he'd said, I wish we had met earlier because That would have been great, but I've already cast somebody else in this part. And I was like, okay, maybe
Okay.
next time, you know. And I went back home, and in mid-January, I got a call saying, you know, we had some date issues with the person we'd cast for this part, and would you still be open to doing this role? When I got that call, was a moment where if I could do cartwheels, I would have done that. You know, it was one of those. I mean, for me to imagine that I would be in a film acting with Irfan was something, and it was a very beautiful part. You know, it was not a small part. It was one of the 4 leads of the film, and to imagine that I would be working with performers like Irfan, Tiska Tilotuma was such joy for me. I cannot tell you. And you know, sometimes it's like your expectations are so much and you get so happy about something and the actual experience sort of doesn't match up. The actual experience of it superseded my cartwheel joy. It was just the most beautiful film to work on. I was so much in sync with my director and my co-actors, and I have to say that's largely because of their large-heartedness, you know. I mean, they were all more established and experienced than I was, but never for a minute did I feel, for any moment on that set, on the set, did I feel that somebody was talking down to me or was explaining something to me. I always felt that people were collaborating with me. So from the point of getting the role, bagging the role, to the point of finishing this film and watching the film, and it was just complete joy. There was just nothing in this experience which was wrong. And it's not that I remember it like this today. I did think of it like this even then, because, you know, sometimes your memory is constructed in a particular way that you forget the bad things and you choose to remember the good things. Or, you know, when the film turns out well and you get appreciation for it, then you remember only the good things. But Kissa, no, it was the experience of it was pure joy for me. It didn't matter what happened later. After Kissa, I think was the lull after the storm. Because there was many years. I shot for Kissa in 2012. And in between 2012 and 2015, there were about 6 projects that I really wanted to do, which I was almost close to getting, but never did. And that was just heartbreak. And it was a series of heartbreaks. So that was, I think, the worst time in my life till Manto happened. And I always tell Nandita, she pulled me out of the hole that I was going to fall into.
Brands which show perseverance, motivation, who recognize that, yes, there are, you know, paths to go and mountains to climb and things to do different. So these all factors are what we spoke about, you know, in this conversation now. Thank you very much, Rasika, for this. That's a great conversation, and we've you know, understood your journey throughout. I'm very sure that every one of us who are hearing this are with you from Jamshedpur to, we've come till Bombay with you, and probably more places to go to. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Rasika, for joining us for that very, very interesting session. I'm sure that all our viewers had a lot to learn from you.